ghost that's known as Casper. I want to be a friend to you. I will try to make you happy. This is all you have to do. Come along now and join the party. Come along now and have some fun. We are a lot of friendly people, and the fun has just begun. Here's the little witch we call Wendy. She's as good as she can be. Over here is tough guy Spooky. He'll surprise you. Wait and see. Come along now and join the party. Come along now and have some fun. We are a lot of friendly people. We hope you like everyone. Here's the funny ghostly trio. They have tricks they've never used. And the horse whose name is Nightmare. She will keep you all amused. Come along now and join the party. Come along now and have some fun. Show will start in just a moment. You're gonna laugh until it's done. So come along everybody to the new Casper cartoon show.
Foolish mortal, you have inadvertently tuned into the forbidden frequency. It's Zombie Astronaut's Frequency of Fear.
Obviously, we at the Frequency of Fear are familiar with the paranormal. We know the paranormal. In some cases, we are the paranormal. In fact, my wife, Zombalina, refers to me sometimes as para-abnormal. I'm not really sure what she means by that.
I've experimented on many living things, and if we manage to isolate an ectoplasmic being, an ectoplasmoid I like to call them, I made that up myself. Use it and you have to pay me royalties. Where was I? Oh, yes. I want to vivisect a ghost.
We formed our own paranormal investigative group. It's called the Paranormal Observation Organization, Phoenix Subsidiary.
I saw a ghost once. It came up to me and said, "Boo." I said, "Who is this Boo you speak of?" I was frightened, so I bought a pocket fisherman.
You can't vivisect a ghost.
I can if I want to.
No, you don't understand. To vivisect something, it has to be alive. A ghost isn't alive.
Oh, there you go. You're doing it again.
Doing what? What am I doing?
Stop depriving me of my dreams.
Yes, me hearties. I have a lot of experience with ghosts. I've lived with ghosts all me life. I eat, sleep, and breathe ghosts. That and body lice.
Look, I'm sorry. I'm not saying you can't dissect a ghost. I'm just saying.
I'm not talking to you.
Doc, don't do this.
I'm not talking to you.
Fine. Really, that's just fine. Don't talk to me. See if I care.
Wait a second. You do realize you've named this investigative team Poops, right?
I once ate 3.5 large pizzas by myself.
Oh man, you're kidding.
Paranormal Observation Organization, Phoenix Subsidiary, Poops. We're called Poops.
That sucks.
Well, let's change it.
We can't.
Why not?
I got t-shirts printed up.
With poops on them?
And, I got it painted all over your Winnebago.
Oh. What?
Hi there, Mr.
Monty Mendelhouse. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Mendelhouse. I'm the zombie astronaut. This is my partner, Dr. Despicable.
You live alone? Any close family?
Stop it.
I guess I'm just wondering if you'd be missed.
What sort of apparition are you experiencing?
Well, there are times when there's
I am Poops.
You know, Wilhelm, unlike the window, the front door was wide open.
This here old coot is paying us for this, right? Right?
Okay, it's getting dark outside, so let's set up the equipment. Come on, guys, let's set up the equipment.
I have some experimental surgical equipment out in my Winnebago.
How is experimental surgical equipment...
I have a pocket fisherman!
How is surgical
In
equipment...
case I get scared.
Surgical equipment going to help us detect ghosts?
I have one of them there, me-pods. Those little music-playing calculators, you know.
Where's all the equipment I bought?
Oh, that stuff? I sold it. Got one of them there, me-pods.
Okay, Dr. Von Martinez, Captain Bone Marrow, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Who is this me you speak of?
If you see anything, just radio Doc and me. We're going to investigate the upstairs area.
I'll finally have a chance to see if he has any house pets.
While we wait for some sign of paranormal activity, here's an excellent example of a couple haunted by a ghost.
Ectoplasmoid.
Here's an excellent example of a couple haunted by an ectoplasmoid.
Made that up myself.
Stephen and Jan Holmes purchased their dream home. However, the home is not exactly uninhabited. There seems to be a ectoplasmoid attempting to relate a message to them, and it's up to Stephen and Jan to figure out what that message is. Listen now to the uninvited episode, Old Debts.
You now owe me $5.
What?
Springbok Radio presents The Uninvited. Have you heard them? Those fearful sounds in the dead of night. The muffled creak of a loosened board. The shuffling step of a ghostly figure. The eerie voice of the uninvited.
He tooted the horn to let the fellow on the road know he wanted him to get out of the way, for Stephen Holmes had urgent business in town and wasn't going to waste time with hitchhikers. Besides, it was lonely on the Cornish road, and you could never tell about hitchhikers, and best not to have anything to do with them. No good. There the idiot stood fair in the middle of the road, and it was too dangerous to try to avoid him. Holmes would have to pull up.
Damn nuisance. Think you take a hint? Ah, well. Will you kindly get out of my way? I'm in a hurry. I just want a lift, mister. Just a lift. Sorry, I can't help you. Not today, anyway. I'm having trouble with the carburetor as it is. Engine won't idle. It just cuts out. Get out of the car. Eh? Here, what's the idea? You heard me. Get out of the car. I need that crate and I'm going to have it. You must be out of your mind. This isn't a cat pistol, mister. Now come on, out.
You can take your hand off that door. I'm not moving.
All right. You asked for it. What the devil?
As I thought, you were bluffing.
But it is loaded. There's something wrong with the fool thing.
You better get back to stealing women's handbags, my friend. Goodbye.
No, you don't. I want that car and let go. All right? You want to play it tough? Oh. Don't keep away from me. What the blazes? No. Don't keep away from me. No, please. Please keep away from me.
Mad. Completely off his rocker.
Stephen Holmes completed his drive to town, where he successfully concluded his business, the first part of which was to sell the nearly new car for some £700. However, he found it wasn't easy to dismiss from his mind the man on the road. And as a result of discussing the incident with the car dealer, he decided to make a call at the police station before he completed his business and caught the bus back home.
Take a seat, Mr. Holmes, will you? I'm Sergeant Ward.
Well, I don't have very much time, Sergeant.
Yes, that's all very well, sir. But you've made a statement about meeting this man on the road and being threatened.
And I was. But I suspect the fellow is just some crackpot who...
I'm afraid not, sir. I very much suspect it could have been Albert Tamblyn.
Who?
Albert Tamblyn. You must have read about him in the papers.
Tamblyn. Oh, you mean that man who murdered the farmer in Devon and got away with...
That's the one. Of course, we can't call him a murderer yet, you understand. We only want him for questioning.
Seems pretty obvious he did it from the paper reports.
Well, man to man, I agree, sir. But officially, we only want him for questioning. Now, this chap you met, a heavy-set, dark man, very bushy eyebrows, rather piercing eyes.
Yes, that sounds very much like him. His nose was sort of flattened, as I recall, as though it had been broken and not set properly.
Then, that's Tamblyn for sure.
Good heavens.
Yes, exactly. Now, suppose you tell me exactly what happened, Mr. Holmes.
Happened? He was there ahead of me on the road and waving for me to stop.
You were driving a car?
Yes, didn't I say that?
No. And as you mentioned something about catching a bus a minute ago,
I just sold the car, you see.
Oh, I see. Just a minute. Aren't you the chap who bought the old house out by Hammerhead Rock?
That's right. My wife and I rather...
I thought I remembered the name. There was all that business about the gold coins.
Yes, that's right.
Are you liking it out there, Mr. Holmes?
To tell the truth...
I heard you had a bit of trouble in a kind of way.
I'd rather not talk about it, if you don't mind. And my bus, if you want to hear about...
Yes, of course. I'm sorry to get off the subject. About Tamblyn. We presume it was Tamblyn. You said he waved for you to stop.
And I did stop. I didn't have much choice. He was standing right in the middle of the road, which isn't very wide there.
Where was this exactly?
Just this side of that sharp bend from the hill, about 4 miles out.
Ah, yes, I know the spot. What happened, after you pulled up?
Well, he said he wanted a lift. Then when I refused, he produced a pistol. When I called his bluff, he tried to shoot me.
It was a dangerous thing to do, Mr. Holmes. Calling his bluff, you could have been killed.
Yes. Well, actually, the gun must be faulty. It wouldn't fire.
Really? That's interesting. Then we know he can't shoot us if we corner him. Yes, what then, sir?
Well, it was rather odd, actually. He was trying to drag me out of the car, and suddenly he stopped and cried out. There was a look of terror in his face, abject terror, as though he'd seen something horrible. He just took off yelling, "No, no," and so on.
What did he see?
Out there on the open road, wasn't anything to see. There was nothing at all. So he couldn't have... Unless...
Yes, Mr. Holmes? Unless what?
Oh, nothing. Well, that's all I can tell you, Sergeant. That's exactly what happened. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really must catch that bus.
Oh, very well, sir.
Come, darling.
Stephen, what happened? I was getting worried. I was expecting you on the first bus. Did something go wrong?
Oh, now, what could possibly go wrong? There, I'm home. Everything's all right.
You sold the car?
What a question. That's what I went to town for, wasn't it?
And the rest of it, you used the money to...
Most of it. Still have 50 we can call our own. Of course, if we hadn't bought the car in the first place, we'd have been better off. But we didn't realize, did we?
I hope it works, Stephen. I only hope it works.
Of course it'll work. It has to. After all, the message was quite obvious.
I don't think I could stand it otherwise. I couldn't go on living here, Stephen. I just couldn't.
I know. So it has to work. Because we'd never get our money back in the place we had to sell and move away. Not now.
That Mr. Gardner ought to be ashamed of himself, taking us in the way he did.
That's a bit rough, darling. It didn't exactly take us in, you know. He did say there was a story about the old house.
Even if we have one more night like the others, I think I shall go right out of my mind.
Now, don't talk like that, Jan. We're not going to have another night like the others. And you're not going out of your mind. Nor are we going to move out. Everything's going to be all right. You'll see.
After this rather fraught interchange, Mr. and Mrs. Holmes had their evening meal and retired to bed early, for they were both rather tired. This was understandable, for if they were able, as Stephen had said they would be, to sleep through this night undisturbed, it would not only be a welcome relief, but rather remarkable.
For since they'd bought this fascinating old house a few weeks before, laughing easily at the story of its being haunted, had scarcely known a full night's rest, and the matter of haunting had become far from a joke. It had started a bare week after they moved in. Stephen, a normally sound sleeper, was awakened in the middle of the night by his wife shaking him.
Stephen, wake up.
Huh?
Stephen, wake up.
What? What's that?
I heard something.
Heard something? What did you hear? I can't hear anything.
Not now, but it woke me up.
Well, what was it?
I don't know. A kind of a thumping upstairs.
Upstairs? Oh, come off it, old girl. There's nothing about us but the attic.
I know that. It sounded as though somebody was moving things about up there.
In the attic? Nonsense. You imagined it. Why, even if there were a burglar in the place, it wouldn't be up there.
Stephen, I'm frightened.
Oh, Jan, for heaven's sake. All right. I'll go up into the attic and take the torch and take a look. Will that make you happy?
Janet didn't want Stephen to go up to the attic, but on the other hand, she had to know what caused the noise she heard, so he went. And eventually he came back.
Well, what did you find?
Nothing but our old trunks and suitcase and a lot of cobwebs and dust, which I might say is all over my pajamas.
Are you sure you
Look, darling, you've just been letting that story about the house being haunted prey on your mind or something. Now, let's get back to bed and...
There it is again.
Great Scott. It really does sound as though there's something up there.
Stop. Well, now you know I didn't imagine it. There was something up there.
But I tell you, nobody'd been up there. The dust hadn't been disturbed. There was no sign. What? Oh. No. No!
Agnes Cluett, that was her name, Mr. Holmes. Lived in that house for 30 years. Died there, too. Never owned the place, of course.
Mr. Gardner, you shouldn't have sold us that house. As a responsible estate agent...
I told you there was a story the place was haunted, Mr. Holmes. I told you that when you asked me why it had been unsold for so long. Now, you can't say I didn't.
Yes, but I had no idea. I mean, who really believes in ghosts nowadays?
People around here do, I can tell you. Great place for ghosts is Cornwall. I must say, though, you're a bit unlucky. I mean, another couple I know have a ghost in their place. A sweet, pretty young thing. Yeah, it leaves the air full of lovely perfume.
Well, whatever this thing was, it was certainly nothing like that.
Oh?
This Agnes Cluett, tell me about her.
Well, there's not much to tell. Actually, I didn't know her. I just saw her a couple of times. She died only a few years back. Left a lot of unpaid debts in the town, too. People had taken pity on her. Let her run up all kinds of bills.
She was poor then?
Aye, that she was. Poor in pocket and poor in spirit. Mean and crabby. Just the same, not everybody agreed she had to be mean. Some said she had a lot of money hidden away. It never came to light, though.
Why would she be haunting the house? I mean, if we're going to agree that Janet and I have seen her ghost, why is she there?
Well, now, I can't say handling real estate has taught me much about ghosts, Mr. Holmes. Now, I'd like to help you, and of course, if you'd like me to list your place for sale,
Don't bother. I'm not selling.
Oh, you're staying on, you mean?
I'm a writer, Mr. Garden. And I've written many creepy ghost stories in my time. If I let some ghost, real or imagined, drive me out of my own home, how would I ever face myself or my public again?
Oh, I see.
No, I'm staying. And the next time that woman shows herself, she'd better be a real ghost. There we are, darling. When my uncle insisted on making me a present of this old sword, I never thought I never thought it would have had a practical use.
I must say it looks awfully dangerous.
Well, if horrible Agnes shows up again tonight, she'd better not be some kind of prankster.
You know, I had a strange feeling about her.
Oh? How do you mean?
Well, she looked so evil, leering at us like that. And yet I couldn't help feeling she was trying to be friendly.
With that toothless grin, you must be joking.
was in the daytime, and it was rather easier to chat about the frightful apparition than it was later as twilight closed in and day gave way to the shrouded night. In bed, they both lay awake for hours. It must have been about 2 o'clock when they heard it again.
Stephen, listen!
Easy now, darling, easy. Keep a grip on yourself. Ah, there it's gone.
Stephen, I can't stand it. I just can't sit here and wait.
Steady, Janet, steady. We've got to wait. Hang on to yourself.
Stephen!
Garcia.
I can't, look, I can't.
Well, I can. And this is it. All right, you, whatever you are, take that.
She was gone, the apparition, with its red-rimmed eyes, its mouth like a gash in a suet pudding, had gone apparently right through the closed door of the bedroom. Stephen's blood was up, however, and he was not to be stopped now.
You stay there, Janet. I'm going after it, whatever it is.
No, Stephen, please don't leave me alone.
Here she is, but it says the attic. All right, I'm going to get you, you rotten old hag.
No, Stephen, please don't leave me here.
Now Stephen, too, was gone, and Janet was left alone in the darkened bedroom, whimpering softly to herself. Suddenly, she leapt out of bed, her eyes wide with renewed terror, as she heard Stephen's voice from the attic.
No!
Stephen? Is that you up there?
Fear for her husband overwhelming her panic, Janet was out of the bedroom and running barefoot to the attic stairs almost before she knew what she was doing. There was no sign of any ghost as she scrambled up the rickety stairway and burst into the attic.
Stephen?
Oh, that hurt, my gosh. Hello, darling.
Oh, are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right. I think.
What happened?
I'm not sure. All I know is that I followed the apparition or whatever up here, standing over there against the wall. I dived towards it and something tripped me up.
Tripped you up? But there's nothing there to trip over. Look, you can see for yourself.
Just the same, something tripped me. No mistake about that. I fell, bashed my shoulder against the wall, fell and rolled over here. I hope I haven't sprained anything.
Oh, you shouldn't have tried to chase her, Stephen. You must have made her angry.
Well, I can tell you she makes me pretty angry, too. What's the matter? What are you staring at?
What's that on the floor over there? Something gleaming.
Huh? Where?
Well, this is where you said you fell, isn't it?
Yes, I've cracked the wall mighty hard, too.
Look, you made a hole in the wall. The plaster's all broken away. Stephen, there's something inside, see? Look, it's all fallen out on the floor.
I say, what is it? Too much to hope to be bags of gold or something.
That's exactly what it is. Look, here's what I saw shining on the floor.
Why, it looks like a sovereign. It is. It's an old gold sovereign.
And look, there are heaps of them here, Stephen. There's heaps of them.
And indeed there were. Several hundred sovereigns, in fact. And as all the world knows, gold sovereigns, although no longer legal currency, are worth a good deal more today than their face value. But later that night, downstairs, before a stoked-up fire, Stephen and Janet Holmes sipped hot cocoa and gazed in wonderment at the neat little stacks of gleaming coins on the coffee table in front of them.
You know what I think?
What?
I think this is all what it was all about. And I think you were right. She was trying to be friendly. I'm sorry I called her an old hag.
You think she was trying to let us know that all this money was hidden in the attic?
I'm sure of it. Ugly as sin though she might be, she's a friendly old ghost. And good luck to her, I say.
Oh, Stephen, isn't it marvelous?
You know what this means, don't you, darling? It means we can afford that car we've always wanted.
Oh, yes.
And what's more, as soon as I can take these coins to the bank, that's exactly what we're going to have. A nice, bright, shiny, new car. Well, darling, what do you think of her?
Simply wonderful, Stephen, simply wonderful. Oh, a car of our own. It's a dream come true.
Janet had good reason to suppose all would now be well, and that the ghost of the old crone, Agnes Clewett, was friendly to them, despite her horrifying appearance. In a way, she was, as events were to prove, yet not quite in the way the young couple supposed. That night, they didn't have to wait till they were in bed. It happened while they were enjoying their after-dinner coffee by the big open fireplace in the parlor.
Ah, that was very good. Perhaps I only imagined it, but the coffee was especially good tonight.
There's some more in the pot.
Good. I just, oh, good grief, what was that?
My boy! I'm not getting from the bed!
Hey, what's on earth?
Stephen, the mirror! It just got out of the frame!
What on earth is happening?
Stephen, it's her! It's her! She's doing it!
But she's not here. I don't see anything.
But you understand? She's angry with us. She's wrecking the place, Stephen. You've got to do something!
But what could he do? What could either of them do? Nothing but wait. At last, after what seemed an age, it was over, and there was a long silence. Then Janet started to cry.
Oh, there, Jan, old girl, bear up, huh? Step out the lips called for, you know.
I can't help it. It's all so horrible. She leaves us to that money, and now this. All my lovely things smashed to bits.
The place does look pretty much of a shambles, I must say. Phew.
Oh, Stephen, what are we going to do? We must get away from this horrible place. We must.
We can't, darling. That's just it.
But why not?
All our savings are in this place. With its reputation, our only hope of selling would be to find a pair of fools like ourselves. And that, I don't believe, is possible.
We must do something.
The following week was a constant nightmare, with visitations from Agnes Clewitt a daily occurrence. Janet's nerves had almost reached breaking point, so that she nearly jumped out of her chair when one evening Stephen broke a gloomy silence with,
"By George, I got it."
Oh, Stephen, don't do that. You nearly made me jump out of my skin.
I solved the mystery, Janet. I know why she's keeping at us worse than ever.
Oh, how could you possibly?
The debts. She wanted us to use the money to pay the debts.
Debts? What debts?
I'd almost forgotten. But it just came back to me. Something Gardner said when he told me about Agnes.
Gardner?
When she died, she owed people money. People in town. She was supposed to be a pauper, you see.
Oh, I don't see what that
She wasn't a pauper, we know that. She had all those sovereigns hidden away. And she kept them all hidden till the day she died. She didn't pay what she owed.
Good heavens, you think that...
Of course. Her ghost can't rest until the debts are paid. That's quite a common sort of reason for ghosts to hang about, so they say. Never too late to mend, you know. Even after you're dead, apparently.
Well, that would account for being so angry when we bought the car.
Yes, so she wrecked the place. Led me to the hidden money, expecting me to pay her old debts, which run into quite a bit, and I believe she owed more than £200 in rent on this place. That's what Gardner said.
And you think that if the debts were paid, then we wouldn't see her again?
I'm sure of it. I should have thought of it before.
But, Stephen, we haven't got the money now. Most of it went into the car.
I know, darling. And that's why I'm driving the car into town in the morning and selling it.
Selling it?
Selling it to pay Agnes Clewitt's debts and give us all some peace.
I'll come with you to the gate. Oh, it's lovely out here this morning.
Oh, not as lovely as you, old girl. My word, 2 nights' good sleep has worked wonders for you.
You must have been right, Stephen, about her wanting you to pay those old debts for her. I'm so thankful that Mr. Gardner could find out who she owed the money to.
Well, she hasn't bothered us since I made the decision to sell the car, and I don't think we'll ever hear of her again.
I don't mind doing without the car. I'd rather have my peace of mind and... Hello?
Huh? Oh, car coming. Thought it was too early for the bus. Who will this be, I wonder?
Morning, Mr. Holmes.
Why, Sergeant, what's his name? Sergeant Ward. Oh, good morning, Sergeant. Looking for me?
I am that, Mr. Holmes. Couldn't resist telling you what happened about Albert Tamblin.
Huh? That murderer you were after. The chap who held me up on the road.
Murderer? Held you up? What on earth do you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry, Janet. Didn't want to worry with it. It was when I took the car in. Had to spot a bother with a fellow the police are after.
Were after, sir. We got him yesterday afternoon. Not far from where you said you met him.
Oh, good show. To give you any trouble? That pistol of his wasn't much good, but...
Funny thing about that, Mr. Holmes. That pistol was fully loaded. There wasn't a thing wrong with it. Fired the first time we tried it out.
But how odd. I told you he must have pulled the trigger 4 or 5 times and it wouldn't go off. What did he have to say about it?
Nothing, sir. Tamblin was dead when we found him.
Dead?
Stone dead. Lying face down on the ground. The way we figured it, he'd been clawing at the soil. His fingernails were all torn. And the expression on his face, it wasn't very nice to see. The doctor found nothing wrong with him, organically, that is. Said he died of... It sounds funny, I know, but the doctor said he died of sheer fright. Queer, that, isn't it? Agnes. Pardon, sir?
Agnes Cluett. He tried to steal her car. Nobody ever solved the mystery of why the loaded gun in the murderer's hand hadn't fired, or why he himself had died so horribly. Nobody but Stephen and Janet, that is. They knew it was the work of Agnes Cluett, who had let no man stop Stephen selling the car and paying off her old debts. Those debts that had kept her unhappy soul earthbound, tied to that house wherein she dwelt as an uninvited. Greetings, this is Taliesin TTLG invading the frequency of fear. As I'm on the road to recovery from pernicious bat flu and feeling rotten, I've decided to bring you three of the most rotten vampire movies ever created. Now, I love vampire films, as you know, but given there have been easily over 1,000 made worldwide, with more coming every month it seems, it is clear that there will be some stinkers out there. These are three of the worst. Blood Slaves of the Vampire Wolves was released in 1996 and was created by Conrad Brooks, an associate of Ed Wood. This film owed a lot to Wood's worst excesses of movie making. Using a camcorder rather than a proper camera, as many of the worst vampire movies of recent years have done, he created a wholly incoherent mess. On the positive side, there was an unsuccessful attempt to build a story. Not that you can really find one hidden within it, but with a lack of anything resembling a script, incompetent actors, and some really poor effects, this is truly a stinker. However, it is not as bad as Burly Legal Lesbian Vampires, The Curse of Ed Wood. I really do not know where to begin with this 1999 film. Exploitation is the name of the game here, with scenes of a sexual nature added simply to draw the unwary viewer in. Stakes allegedly through the chest that are held by the actor and wobble just above the body, and clearly visible mic packs are just a few of the sins in a film that barely manages to generate a storyline. At least, however, these actors had mic packs, unlike those in the truly dreadful Ankle Biters. Released in 2002, one of the annoying things about the film is that they didn't invest in a boom mic. On the plus side, it means that no microphones wobble into shots. But by relying on the onboard camera mic, we miss vocals in key scenes, as they are out of mic range. To make matters worse, they then added music and sound effects at a much higher volume, just to kill off any surviving dialogue. I say key scenes, but that is a little overstatement. In a film that is, and I kid you not, about dwarf vampires who cannot turn an average-sized human into a vampire, and so steal a sword that contains the blood of the last large vampire, a plot hole as our main hero is also a large vampire, to create another large vampire to spread the plague. Before this film, I had not heard of the concept of dwarfploitation. So, are these the worst vampire films made? They're up there certainly, but one, which I confess I have not seen, so I haven't listed in my three worst, but have on good authority makes those three look like Oscar winners, is Robo-Vampire. Even I haven't had the courage to watch that one. But there you go. Three of the worst, and if you're anything like me, you'll watch the films anyway. The lure of seeing a vampire stronger than the tedium of bad filmmaking. To get more information on these and many more vampire movies and books, visit Taliesin Meets the Vampires at taliesinTTLG.blogspot.com. Alternatively, find the link in the links to the Zombie Astronaut. Hey Dom, I got through it without coughing.
Say, Captain Bone Marrow. Captain Bone
Marrow? 3.5 pizzas.
Dr. Van Martinez?
That's nothing, matey. I want to eat my entire crew for insubordination.
But they were large pizzas.
Captain Bone Marrow?
Zombie, me lad. What's kicking?
You guys see anything yet?
No, but I found enough fancy electronic equipment to keep us in me pods until we die. Well, until everybody but you dies anyway.
I caught a sea bass with my pocket fisherman.
He did. I don't know how he did it, but we're cooking it now.
Are you guys in the kitchen?
Oh no, Mr. Astronaut. We built a fire with a bunch of musty old books on the living room floor.
Well, let me
know if you see anything.
Roger that. Over and out. Muzzle tov.
Zombie!
Do you see something?
Look! To the left of Mendelhaus's snow globe collection.
I think it's a ghost.
What do we do?
I'm really not sure. Wait, I have an idea. Start throwing snow globes at it.
Right. Take that, you filthy ectoplasmoid.
Ha-ha!
And that. Yeah. Oh, we're out of snow globes. Now what?
Wait. Wait. That's not a ghost.
You're right. That's not a ghost.
What's all this noise? It's like my snow globe collection. I've been collecting them since I was a crippled orphan in a leper colony.
An ectoplasmoid broke into the cabinet and said, "This is to teach that human to stay in this obviously haunted house." And began smashing everything. It was a veritable snow globe massacre.
Oh, this ghost is going to be the death of me. Phooey, I'm going back to bed.
That's a good one. Death of me.
Quite clever indeed.
Ooh. Where did you put that experimental surgical thingy?
Got him!
I think it's time for another story or two. Now, in the next story, the couple hasn't even purchased their haunted house. They're just checking it out as a promising prospect. But boy, did they pick the wrong house. This house has more than one ghost. One that simply smells of lilacs, but one that continually sharpens a straight razor, waiting for a victim. Listen to the Tales of the Supernatural episode, I Shall Rise Again, and it will be followed by a track from a promotional disc released by Spearhead Marketing called Halloween Party Instructions and Story. And that story is called, oddly enough, Haunted House Story.
Tales of the Supernatural. There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamed of in your philosophy. Tales of the supernatural, tales weird, strange, uncanny, brought to you from that twilight world beyond the shadow, a world but dimly explored for all our lamps of science. Tonight we bring you an adventure which befell two ordinary people in this present year, and which we have called, I Shall Rise Again. About 10 o'clock on a still summer's night, a young couple sat in a smart single-seater, looking at the dark outline of a house set back in a ragged garden. Thomas Mason, successful architect, and his pretty wife Ellen have been house hunting.
So this is the house?
Yes, but Ellen...
Well?
I don't think I'm being a wet blanket, honey, but I wouldn't expect too much from this place.
Why not? Looks all right.
According to what Bill Latimer tells me, it's been empty for donkey's years. Knowing how difficult it is to get a house, there's obviously something wrong with it.
Tom, you make me tired.
But Ellen...
You never wanted to come and see this house from the very beginning. Just because you think it's too far from the city.
Well, Latimer says that's why the last tenants left. Too isolated and out of the way.
Darling, after living in pokey flats with somebody else's radio in my ears all day, I'm going to welcome a little isolation.
You might have to welcome leaky roofs and bad drains, too.
Oh, well, you can soon fix that.
Darling, I'm an architect, not a plumber.
At the moment, you're a bear with a sore head. You know you're doing everything possible to put me off this place, just because you'll have to drive a few extra miles to town each day.
But...
Tom, I've made up my mind that if I like this place, we can at least try it out for a few months. Then, if you find it too far, we'll see what can be done. Now, let me get out, Tom.
All right. I'll bring the torch from the car pocket, Ellen.
Oh, all right, darling.
Cut the light off in this house months ago.
Here you are. Now, this way.
Why we had to come dragging all the way out here, I don't know.
Darling? Ah, here's the gate.
Complete with nameplates, eh?
Shine the torch on it. Resurgam.
It's Latin. Means I shall rise again.
I shall rise again? Huh, strange name for a house.
Don't you believe it? A client of mine once built a house and called it Bedside Manor.
I don't believe it. That sounds like one of those crazy stories of your friend Bill Latimer. Ah, here's the door. Have you brought the keys?
Yes, here.
The one for the front door is marked with a tag. Let's see. That's it.
Smells kind of moldy.
Well, you can't expect air conditioning in a place no one's used for years.
By the dust everywhere, I'd say it was centuries. This seems to be the main hall.
We'll see what's in that room ahead. I say, Tom, just listen to the way our footsteps echo.
It's a heavy atmosphere. Plays tricks with your senses. Even your perfume smells stronger in here.
Perfume?
That lilac stuff.
But I'm not wearing any perfume.
The whole place reeks of it. Don't you smell it?
No?
It's getting stronger every minute.
Oh, there must be a lilac tree blooming in the garden. Tom, wait for me.
I am waiting for you.
But
what, honey?
Oh, nothing, but I could have sworn I heard footsteps in that room ahead.
Oh, darling, you're overtired. Here, I see. There's the palm of my hand.
Oh, Tom, what a lovely big room. Darling, think what a splendid lounge it would make. Look, now let me see. We could have fawn carpet on the floor, nice clean walls, good pictures, of course, flowers in tall white vases, and books over there, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Tom, look at that fireplace.
You're going to need that in the winter.
Yes. No, it's quite chilly in here even now. Oh, I do hope the house isn't damp.
I couldn't live in this room. It's as cold as charity. It gets the sun.
Well, look, there's another room across there.
Oh, might make a small study for me. Let's explore.
Mm-hmm.
What the devil's that?
What?
Listen. Now, if I didn't know we were alone in this house, I'd swear that someone was stropping a razor in that little room over there.
If you heard anything, darling, it was probably rats.
Ellen.
Well?
Let's call it a night. We've seen enough.
Enough? Why, we haven't even started to explore the house. Tom, what's the matter with you?
I don't know. First that curious perfume, and then that sound. Ellen, I think there's something wrong in this house.
Darling, there's nothing wrong that a few £100 can't put right. And you can't make me nervous by... Tom?
Now can you hear it?
Yes. What does it mean?
Shh.
Well, there's nothing to snigger about.
Ellen, I didn't...
Oh, don't be silly, Tom. I heard you. You laughed almost behind my head.
Ellen.
Well?
We're not alone in this house.
What do you mean?
I heard that chuckle, too. It seemed to me to come from inside that little room.
Tom, is this some joke?
Joke?
What were you and Bill Latimer laughing about over the phone this afternoon? And why did you suddenly stop when I came into the room?
Now, Ellen...
I shouldn't be at all surprised if you and Bill cooked this up between you. Pretend the house was haunted just to scare me off by it.
Oh, don't be silly.
It's just the kind of fool thing Bill Latimer would do. But I'm warning you, Tom. I mean to explore every foot of this place, and we're starting with that small room. Now, come on. Go on, open the door.
I can't.
Tom.
I'm trying to, I tell you, but it's not locked. It's almost as though something was holding it. Oh, darn, now I've dropped the torch and it's gone out.
Oh, you clumsy idiot. Well, strike a match.
Let's see. Ah. Gosh. Just look at that now. The door's wide open.
Yes, it was open all the time, and you know it. Now, come on. Oh, you couldn't work in here, Tom. This room's like a vault. You'd freeze without...
What's that?
What, Tom?
That sound. It's in here, louder than before.
Tom, you don't expect me to believe... Why, Tom, you're right. It is here. There's a constant swish. Tom, what is it? What is it?
Ellen, keep calm.
But how can I? I'm going to find out what it is. It must be something. There must be some logical explanation.
Look, let's get out of here.
No, Tom, no. There's some explanation to all this, some perfectly simple explanation.
Well, and for heaven's sake, stop pacing up and down. I tell you won't find anything. Go down.
What's the matter, Tom?
Let's
Strike another one, quickly. Tom, it's dropping. It stopped.
Yes, Helen. It stopped.
Oh, thank heaven. I was beginning to think I was going mad. Tom!
Oh, it's all right. The match gone out again. Ellen!
What's the matter, Tom?
They're crouching in the corner.
What? What?
Something. Can't you see it, Ellen? Something formless, shapeless.
Tom, don't be a fool.
Well, it's there, I tell you, there.
What are you trying to... Tom, take your hands away.
I'm not touching you.
Someone holding me.
Ellen! Ellen!
Can't get free. Help me, Tom. Help me.
Ellen, try. Break free.
Tom.
Oh, the smell of the things everywhere. Corruption and decay.
Tom, for pity's sake.
Ellen, run for the door. Run.
Hurry. Hurry.
Oh, it's all right. We're outside. I've got you. Try to get to the car.
Oh, Tom.
Lean on me, darling. That's right. Here's the gate.
Oh.
Ellen! Oh, gosh, she's fainted. That fool Latimer. He's gone too far. If anything happens to Ellen, I'll break his neck. Latimer! Latimer, is that you?
What's going on here?
Who are you?
I'm Constable Withers, sir. Local of this district. I was driving past and saw the flash of lights in the old place. And who may you be, might I ask?
I'm Thomas Mason, and this is my wife. She's had a very nasty shock.
Nor do I wonder, if you've both been foolish enough to go inside that place.
What do you mean by that?
Last tenant's only stayed 3 days. Before that, was empty ever since they hanged him.
Him?
Roger Pierce. Mean to tell me you never heard of the Lilac Lady murder? Happened 5 years ago.
5 years ago, I was bombing Berlin.
Mrs. Pearson, known as the Lilac Lady around about here for the perfume she used, was carrying on with a friend of her husband. So one night, he stropped up his razor, he cut her throat.
Stropped up
And then he tried to hang himself in that there little room off the guard. But it took Newgate to do the job properly. Now, sir, can I help you with your good lady? She looks as if a drop of brandy wouldn't do her any harm.
George, whiskey and soda, please. Oh, there you are, Latimer. I thought I'd find you at the club this morning.
Oh, Tom, I'm sorry.
I should jolly well think so. I know we arranged that business last night between us, but hang it all, you went beyond a joke.
Last night?
That was a filthy trick you played, hiding in that little room and grabbing Ellen in the dark. You might have given her heart failure. Especially as you must have known about that murder.
What murder?
Oh, come off it, old son. You did all the acting you wanted to last night.
But, Tom...
Of course you knew about that murder. How else could you have arranged that lilac scent and the razor stop? I say, what's the matter?
Didn't your girl give you my message?
Message? What?
I rang you at about 7 o'clock last night. My sister was taken seriously ill, and I had to rush her to hospital and stand by all night. What I'm trying to tell you, Tom, is that I never went near that house last night. You believe in the supernatural?
What lies beyond the shadow?
Is it fact or fantasy?
Next week, same time, same station, we will present another story of the supernatural and the supernormal, dramatizing the fantasies and the mysteries of the unknown as we take you on a journey into fear in Tales of the Supernatural.
Come in. Welcome to my humble home. In case you're wondering where I'm speaking to you from, let me first tell you a short tale. Then you can guess for yourself. It all began many, many years ago when I was just about your age. I was out trick-or-treating when I came across this big, big house on the edge of town. It was all dark, except for a small light in a window on the ground floor. I walked up to the door and knocked. No one answered. When I knocked again, the door slowly opened by itself. When I looked in, it was dark as coal, except for a triangle of light at the end of the hallway. I walked in, and each of my footsteps echoed through the house. And just as I was a couple of steps inside, there was a hand on my shoulder. I turned and looked up into the face of an old white-haired man. He had a strange smile and a sort of a glassy look in his eyes. "What do you want?" he asked. I was so scared. All I could do was shout, "Trick or treat!" "Trick or treat, is it?" he bellowed. And before I could turn and run away, he grabbed my hand and said, "Follow me. I have just the thing for you in the other room." Once we were inside the room, I saw that it was filled with jars of all types and sizes. Some were filled with green lumpy stuff. Others were full of hairy things. The man took down this one huge jar filled with little round white things and said, "Here, help yourself." I reached into the jar and... As my hand swam around in this thick, gooey liquid, I couldn't figure out what they were. Some were soft, some were hard, and they all seemed to be staring right at me. Before I could say anything, he grabbed my hand and said, "Maybe you'd like some of these instead." And he filled my hand with... I didn't know what they were, but they felt soft and warm and slimy, long and kind of wiggly. I broke away from him and ran. I started running up a flight of stairs when I heard this. It was coming from the top of the stairs. As I turned around and ran down the stairs, I tripped over something. I didn't know where I was or how I was going to get out. All I knew was that I had to get out. And I was so scared I could hear the thumping of my own heart. No, wait a minute. It wasn't my heart. But then whose was it? I held my breath and listened very closely. It was coming from right underneath my feet. I kneeled down to where the sound was coming from, and as I groped around the floor, I felt what I thought was a rusty old bucket. I felt inside it. It was a bucket of liquid, and in it was a heart. A heart still beating. But there was that sound again. That sound that I had heard earlier. It was getting closer and closer and closer. I turned and started to run and was going to run as far away from there as I possibly could get. But I was stopped cold by this huge being of some kind. As he grabbed me, I heard a man say, "Don't hurt his body. It's the only one we have." I fought, and suddenly everything went black. when I woke up. I was lying on a cold marble table in some laboratory. As I looked around, I could see the old white-haired man and this huge, monstrous thing wrapped in chains. He was helping the old man put that pulsing heart into some body. A young body without a head. Once they were finished, the body actually got up and moved around. As it got closer to me, I realized that body was mine. Ah! Later, the man explained that as an experiment, he had kept that heart alive in a bucket for a long time. But the time had come when he needed to find a young body for his heart. Unfortunately, he confessed, my face would be too recognizable, so he had to use my body without the head. But he did promise to find a body for my head as soon as possible. Well, that was many, many years ago, and we're still looking for that body. In fact, we need one about as big as yours. Watch out for the white-haired old man. He might be sizing you up. He might be right behind you this very minute. Watch out!
Don't worry, zombie, me friend. We managed to put the fire out. However, where the window was...
What?
Well, let's just say it's now more of a lack of a wall.
I parked the van inside. Now I can watch TV from the driver's seat.
Oh, jeez, Angela.
Apparently the van was a wee bit too heavy for the living room.
Well...
Check under the van to see if you squished any ghosts, okay?
Will do, zombie me hearty.
I'm starting to think either there's no ghost here, or maybe I'm just not cut out for the ghost hunting thing. I don't know, maybe if we sell out all that equipment. Doc, that's your cue.
No.
What?
Shan't.
But you always...
Well, not this time. I look at the haunted house film in history, and I am shocked that the haunted house has been so hard done by in classic cinema. Have a look at what's available, and what do you find? I'll tell you. Haunted houses used for comedy, cover for some criminal activity, or both. Harold Lloyd, for instance, in his 1920 short, Haunted Spooks, or Buster Keaton in the following year with The Haunted House. Not one ghost, not one single scare. Well, phooey. As if audiences were too intellectual and sophisticated to believe in ghosts for even the duration of a film. Bah! Oh, they were acceptable for more comic fare, like 1935's The Ghost Goes West, where a millionaire buys his family's ancestral Scottish castle and moves it to the American Southwest, or 1944's The Canterville Ghost, with Charles Laughton, which isn't even a proper representation of Oscar Wilde's story, or 1947's The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, starring Rex Harrison and Gene Tierney and George Sanders. They just feel compelled to work in some sort of romantic aspect.
Say, Doc.
Down the hall to your left. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. The only really successful haunted house story of the era that didn't involve scaring Abbott and Costello or the Bowery Boys was 1944's classic The Uninvited, starring Ray Milland, Ruth Hussey, Alan Napier, and Cornelia Otis Skinner. Oh, it's plenty spooky, and the ghost, or ghosts, is, or are, far from cuddly and charming. This is a real favorite of mine, and even gets Lobo glancing over his hump.
Doc, do you hear that?
If you mean the sound of your voice rudely interrupting me, yes. Anywho, flying saucers and enormous radioactive insects took over the 50s, though William Castle did manage to slip his house on Haunted Hill in 59. If there weren't any ghosts there when the movie started, there sure were by the time it was over. Shortly, in the early 60s, we got a pair of classics. The Innocents in 1961 with Deborah Kerr, which is far better than either Henry James's interminable original story, The Turn of the Screw, or the recent revision, The Others. And then 1963's classic and perfect example of the form, The Haunting, from Shirley Jackson's excellent novel The Haunting of Hill House, also recently remade and utterly awful. See the original. It's so good it's almost like reading the book. And then there were a couple of independent and very creepy little films like House of the Damned and Ghosts of Hanley House, both 1963. But it wasn't until the late 60s that the haunted house film really began to pick up momentum, with 1969's The Haunted House of Horror from the UK and starring Frankie Avalon in a straight role and not doing too badly.
Doc, it's in the room! It's in the room!
Yes, I know. I wish it would leave the room and stop interrupting me. Haunted house movies were still pretty low profile in the 70s, but they showed quality nonetheless. They filmed Richard Matheson's The Legend of Hell House, which I always felt had some similar elements to the aforementioned Shirley Jackson novel, in 1973 with Roddy McDowall. Then there was the wonderful, almost legendary TV movie Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, the same year with Kim Darby, Jim Hutton, and William Demarest, and again from the UK, Dark Places, with Christopher Lee, Joan Collins, and Herbert Lom. Dark Shadows as Dan Curtis brought burnt offerings to the big screen with Oliver Reed, Karen Black, Burgess Meredith, Eileen Heckert, and Betty Davis. The Amityville horror finished off the 70s, and with the exception of Ghost Story, The House Where Evil Dwells, and Poltergeist, if there was a haunted house in a movie during the 80s, it was typically the secret lair of a maniac wielding some variety of gardening tool or farm equipment. The haunted house movie has only recently begun to really come into its own, with such films as A Stir of Echoes, again based on a Richard Matheson novel, and the hair-raising Ju-On films, remade for the idiom of American audiences as The Grudge and The Grudge 2. And that's about the extent of the subject. Next to nothing. So in protest, I am not doing a column this time, and that's final.
I am the ghost of the Mendel House house.
I believe I said Hanley House. Oh, dear.
Wow. Fellow astronauts, while we figure out what to do next, why don't you listen to our final haunted house tale? This one comes from the fairly mediocre 0 Hour. There are a couple of really good episodes in there, but they're probably just a couple. This one's really riding the line. It's fairly outlandish. I'll let it explain itself. Listen now to 0 Hour, Ghost of the Black Plague.
I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to the 0 Hour. Rest your eyes. Exercise your imagination. Today, Keith Walker's gothic tale of revenge. The Ghost of the Black Plague. Starring Monty Markham. In the Mutual Broadcasting System presentation of The 0 Hour. In a few moments, you and I will step back in time 200 years to the idyllic countryside of Brookfield, England, a place about to be transformed into a vale of tears. The Black Plague will lay itself across this fertile valley, bringing in its wake the emotions of great hate and great love. The lives of Lord Alexander Wells and his son Robert are shortly to be irrevocably changed by the revenge of the Ghost of the Black Plague.
Nelson, come quickly. My horse.
Yes, Master Wells.
Cool her down.
Oh, yes, always, Master.
Gad, this is a day of beauty. Look at the trees. It's as if they knew and shared my good fortune.
Master Robert, you're back.
Ah, Sarah. Today's your birthday, is it not?
Yes, 14th. Soon I'll be old enough for you to propose.
Oh, I'm much too old for you.
Just a josh, Master Robert. I know I'm plain.
Nonsense, Sarah. You're really very beautiful. Now run along and tell your mother I am starved for some lunch.
Yes, sir.
And where's my father?
The library, sir. He's with Mr. Duncan.
Oh, well, I shall see if I can disturb their business. Happy birthday, Sarah.
Thank you. Mother, Master Robert is out and walk.
A scoundrel who cares not for the people. Out of my house. 1 week, do you hear? You will pay for this if it's the last thing I do. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Good afternoon. Out of my way, boy. Father, may I ask, why you argued with Mr. Duncan?
No. What did you want?
Well, I have news, sir, but it can wait.
Well, I have some that can't wait.
What news, sir?
I've just received a letter from my old friend, Dr. Zavala.
In America?
Yes. I wrote him regarding the possibility of your entering the Boston University of Medicine, and he has agreed.
But that's marvelous.
Yes, and I hope you'll be pleased. Your leave at week's end.
But my news, Father, it has a bearing on the future. You see, Lorraine Duncan has consented to be my wife.
What? That trollop? No, I forbid it.
She is not a trollop. Because she is of a different station, you have no right to look down on her.
I said it is forbidden. Besides, I have just evicted her.
So that was what the argument was all about. Father, I don't understand.
She will not wear the name of Wells.
Then I'm afraid I must go against your wishes.
No, you will not. Now, we'll not talk about this again.
Oh, my lord, come quick. It's your son, Master Michael.
What is it?
The boy said he collapsed by the pond. He looks very sick, and he's having the most terrible fits.
Well?
It was the plague, sir. The Black Death.
Oh, my God, no.
My lord, if I may, is it true you plan to send your son to America?
Yes.
Then I would do it right away, before he too succumbs.
Oh, my darling Robert, I do love you.
And I you, Lorraine.
Robert, you move forward. Miss Duncan, you'll have to leave now.
Goodbye, Robert.
No, not goodbye.
Come, my boy. Now, Robert, I want you to forget that girl.
Goodbye, Father.
I will write to you.
Robert, goodbye. My dear Robert, I'm writing this to you because my memories are flooded with your touch, your face, our happiness. I miss you so. We have moved away from Brookfield to another
It saddens
village.
me to tell you of this, but I fear your father will not speak of it to you. You have been gone less than a year, and the face of Brookfield has changed to the mask of death. The Black Plague has taken almost 300 of the villagers to God. And I know of no way to express my sorrow when I tell you that Lorraine Duncan and her mother were also taken.
Yes.
I was with the child when she died.
I'm grieved to tell you that much has changed here in Brookfield in the years that you've been gone. I know you will never forgive me for not allowing you to come home, but I still think it best that with only 1 more year to complete before you become a doctor, it is best...
I hope it is all right that I send this. I chanced to find your address when I was cleaning your father's study and thought I would say good days to you. Things are strange here.
I have the most tragic news. Your father has taken his own life. We are at odds to explain this unhappy circumstance. Perhaps with your graduation only a week away, you could hasten home as soon as you can. I do not trust myself to outline...
Dr. Robert Wells, Doctor of Medicine.
Vicar, I appreciate your meeting me. Please tell me exactly the circumstances of how my father died.
Well, you remember Samuel Duncan.
Yes, of course.
When the Black Death struck Brookfield, as you know, many people died. Among them, Duncan's entire family. He blamed their deaths on your father.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, but he swore that because of his reduced financial condition,
He was unable to provide proper medical care for him. Thus your father was responsible.
I see.
In the month before I wrote you, your father became very strange. He let the servants go and closed most of the house. He would see nobody, not even me. And then some of the villagers began to report odd happenings at night in the house. Screams, hammerings as if you were building something. That was what finally brought me to the manor. I found Lord Wells dead. Hanged, it seemed, by his own hand.
I never knew. He wrote nothing of this to me. Are you sure it was suicide?
Oh, yes. He left a note. It said quite simply that he could stand the pain no longer, that his guilt was too much, and this would end it all. Ah, here we are.
My God, the manor is a shambles.
Your father left no provisions for upkeep. But I did take the liberty of re-engaging Basil and Sarah.
Sarah? She's here?
Well, tomorrow, I believe. She came to me and asked if she might be re-employed. I knew you'd need a cook and someone to look after the house. I hope I did well.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
Well, I must be away before the storm. Are you quite sure you'll be all right tonight? Alone?
Yes, of course.
Oh, call me if you need anything.
I will. And thank you again.
Hello.
What? I'm sorry,
Why, Lord Robert, you do not remember me?
Sarah.
Yes, sir.
But you were not due till the morning.
I thought with the storm coming you would be in need of a warm supper, Lord Wells.
Sarah, it's amazing. You've blossomed to a real beauty.
Thank you, sir. You too are...
Yeah, I agree I am something, changed anyway.
I'll just take these cases upstairs.
Well, thank you. I'll wander around a bit, I think.
Very good, sir. Dinner will be at 8.
Sarah, you spoil me with food like that.
Thank you. I'm very pleased. Robert, I have set a fire going in your room.
Good, I am all done in from the trip. Are you sure you'll be all right?
Oh, yes. Basil fixed the servants' quarters first thing. I'll be fine.
All right. Good night, then. What? What's that? Oh, a shudder.
Robert!
Oh, what now? Who's there? Who's there? Sarah, is that you? Of course not. Sarah's clear the other side of the house. Oh, the devil. Where is it? It's behind this wall. Oh, wait, where's Michael's room? I know his room is here somewhere. It's hollow. Why the devil would Father close this room over? A chair, I need something to break through with. Something. There. I'm coming. I'm coming. There. Who's here? Who's here, I say? No. No, it can't be.
Welcome home, my darling Robert.
Lorraine. They told me you had died. My Lorraine.
Yes, it is true. I am dead. But I returned, Robert. I loved you so.
Oh, Lorraine, I can't believe my eyes. Come here, let me touch you.
No, please stay away.
Lorraine, where are you? No, please. Please don't leave.
Here. Please stay over there.
Yes. I thought of you every day while I was in America.
I wanted so much for us to have a life together.
But there must be some way. You've come this far.
I am well here on the other side. It is peaceful, and I will rest now that I have seen you.
No, please, wait. Don't leave again.
I must. I am only allowed a little time, but I can return once more. Tomorrow night.
Lorraine, I'll be here.
At the same time, my darling.
Dr. Wells, Robert, please come in. Vicar, I must talk with you. Certainly, my son. Sit down. Yesterday you told me of the tragedy of the Duncan family. What happened to the father, Samuel? But I thought someone might have told you he hung himself. When? Let me see, about 3 months ago. Just before the strange happenings at the manor. Why, yes. Vicar, I received a visit from his daughter last night. Lorraine Duncan? But the girl is dead. Yes, that may well be, but I swear, I saw her. I talked with her. Vicar, have you never heard of something like that happening before? Well, yes, but it's not generally accepted in clerical circles. Sometimes it has been said that great love or great hate will allow someone to return for a short time from the other side. Yes, thank you. Robert, please, you don't have to leave so quickly. Yes, I do. I must go to London and be back before dark.
Robert, I am here. My love, I can only stay a moment. There is not much strength left to hold me longer.
Lorraine, I have been studying today. I traveled to London and talked with a man who specializes in the black arts. He has told me that you can materialize here if you wish strongly enough.
He is wrong. I cannot. Oh, Robert, I want you so.
I don't know how to.
Robert, there is a way we can be together if you wish it.
Tell me anything, my darling.
Then you must take a poison. You can then join me. We will be together again.
Poison, yes. The man mentioned this, but he was unsure.
You love me, Robert.
Oh, yes.
Then do it. In a few moments we could... No! I cannot! Father, I will not do this!
Fool! Gotham, you are a fool! Samuel Duncan.
Yes, Robert Wells, it is I who have come from the depths. Do you want my daughter?
Oh, yes.
Then do as she asks. You'll find a potion downstairs. Hurry!
No, Robert, you mustn't!
Why? Is that not what you want?
He forced me to do this. I am trapped. He will give me no peace.
Is that the truth?
Forget her ravings! You must do this to be with her. Now hurry!
Robert, are you all right? Who is this?
Be gone, woman. This is no affair of yours.
Father, we must leave.
No, wait, Sarah. Why are you here?
I thought this was happened. Oh, Robert, late one night, just before your father died, I heard him. Duncan and your father were screaming at one another. That was the night before Lord Wells hanged himself.
It is not true. I had nothing to do with it.
Robert, believe her. It is true. His hate drove your father to his death.
Lorraine, is it true? If I die, will this give you peace?
Yes! I promise if the line of Wells dies, I will have no need for her agonies.
Then I shall.
No! Father, your hate gave you the power to hold me. Now my love gives me the power to destroy you.
No! I must have my revenge.
I love you, Robert!
Lorraine! No, you must not!
She's gone, Robert. Perhaps now she has her peace.
Yes. Perhaps her love has destroyed his hate.
Oops, really? How embarrassing.
You're telling me.
Yeah. Look, I need some information about this haunting. What tragic events tie you to this home? Oh, nothing at all. I'm starting my own business, and I needed a place that was properly zoned for office space. Hey, did you notice the living room wall was missing? So what kind of business were you planning on starting? Oh, it's quite clever, actually. There are ghosts everywhere, plagued with having to share their homes with the living. How is a ghost?
Ectoplasmoid.
What?
Ectoplasmoid. I made it up myself.
How is a ghost?
Fine then. Free. I don't mind.
How is a ghost?
Don't mind me at all.
How is a ghost to rid himself of this annoyance? Well, they'll be able to call people busters. People busters? Yes, people busters. I show up, I play this theme song. Who do you plan on contacting? People busters. Then I rid the home of the living entity. I've ordered a pizza to demonstrate.
Did somebody order a metagalactic pizza?
I play the theme song. Then I exterminate the living entity.
Oh, what a novel business plan.
Can I have that pizza?
Sorry, laddie. I already ate the pizza. And the pizza delivery guy.
Well, our work here is done. We've conclusively proven the house is haunted.
So, where do we investigate next?
No, Doc. I think I'll stick to hosting the podcast. I don't think I'm cut out to be a paranormal investigator. I think this marks the end of poops. And that really sums up the investigation.
Yeah, look, whatever. Please, just leave before you do any more damage to my house. Or me.
You're quite welcome. I think we did a pretty good job here, Doc.
I concur.
We'll hear you in 2 weeks, fellow astronauts, over the frequency of fear.
This has been the Zombie Astronauts Frequency of Fear. For more horror, sci-fi, and suspense audio, see the website at www.zombieastronaut.net. Right now!
Who Is This Boo You Speak Of was written by Casey Locke, Brent Hanks, and W. Ralph Walters. Dr. Wilhelm von Martinez was played by Brent Hanks. Monty Mendelhaus was played by Casey Locke. The Metagalactic Pizza Guy was played by Todd Young. Dr. Despicable appeared mysteriously. All other voices were done by W. Ralph Walters. The theme song was written by Norm Bourgeois and performed by Papa Suede. All other music was written and performed by W. Ralph Walters.